Um, I am an engineer, so I like to start with a problem. We have a problem. By 2030, 75% of the job will require intensive STEM-related skills. And STEM means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But in Cambodia, particularly among all of the 3 million students enrolled in general education, only 6.5% are receiving the capacity development in STEMs, which means we might not be able to get ready for the upcoming future. So in Cambodia, so every industry will require knowledge of technologies and problem-solving skill. So how are we gonna help Cambodia getting ready for the future? One of the best decisions I made in my life is to study to be a civil engineer when I was in undergraduate. That thanks to my dad, he's my inspiration. And I also learned later on that I love engineering, every aspect of it. The problem solving, the systematic approach to thinking, the process of finding the solutions and iterate it until you define the perfect solutions. And it's just satisfying at that to see that result and then try to make it come to life. In short, engineering is problem solving. When I graduated in 2016, I started thinking about what problem do I really want to solve. I'm always passionate about education, and I am aware of the privilege that I have to be raised in Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia, with the access to the possibilities that come with the academics and skills development that are available for me compared to my peers who were born in the province. Their experience in schools since my high school, that like extracurricular activities, and my family condition that my dad was one of the greatest teacher who would encourage me to explore different topics, experiment with me, and push me to do more than I think I could. Those special moments shape who I am. And I know that I am the lucky one. But I believe that when it comes to education, it shouldn't be up to luck. Students, every student, should get opportunity to experience the thing and explore their interest to meet their full potential. So I know that's just what I want to do, to help students explore their full potential. After my graduation from engineering school, I know that I want to build not just building of bridges, but I want to create space. Space that enable people to learn through experience, with an ecosystem of problem solvers, solution providers that could start as young as they are in schools. I want to create a space where students can do this thing and getting the support they need to be the best version of themselves. And I strongly believe that if we could get that right, the economic development of our country would follow. And that led me to the founding of my education company, Snoopedu. Snoopedu has the mission to build space for explorative and hands-on learning. We design programs to train kids in primary to high school to learn engineering, problem-solving, collaboration, solution buildings, and everything in between. When we started, my co-founder, Nusaklina, and I wanted to do something that related to STEM. It makes sense because I'm an engineer and I love buying Legos, and I hope that one day we could work with them. We know that at the time whenever we teach, we want the student to get the experience of engineering design approach and to practice problem solving and building prototype and solutions. So that's when we decided we will start with coding. So coding is a process of telling the machine or computer how to perform or complete a task. It involves designing a step-by-step instruction called an algorithm to achieve a goals that you want the computer to do for you. From making a Mario character move back and forth when you press the arrow button to generating artwork like Mr. Jason just showed us just now through a tech prompt that is enabled and powered by AI. So after the decision to go for coding program, we pitched our program to schools, to a private school in Phnom Penh. We asked to run our coding program as an extracurricular activity. They said yes, but there was a problem. They did not have teacher who could do that because at the time it was still new to them. So we decided we will bring in the teacher. So we recruited university students who are studying in STEM related subjects, trained them on teaching professionalism, and trained them on how to teach with our curriculum. And we sent them to the classroom. Our teacher have become the best part of the program because to the student in primary school, seeing a technology practitioner who are Cambodia in their classroom, it's showing them that they have someone who is a role model to look up to. And our teachers were not just trained to teach, but they are trained to be facilitators, which enabled them to build relationship and help guide students through their learning and through experiencing together. At the end of our pilot program, students loved it. The parents' feedback encouraged us to move forward, and we continue to work on this approach and try to work with more schools. Recently, we also have started to work with parents as we are building our own makerspace where we design it to be as a STEM education playground. Parents often ask us, what will the child get from the program? Our short answer is, well, they can build robot or game or app or whatever they want. And they could get better grades because in school it could help improve the thinking ability that would require for some subject like math or science. Sometimes we also have to sometimes we have the opportunity to show them our student projects, something like this. So this is one of the projects by our student to measure it's the soil moisture sensor where you could use it to test whether it's time for you to water the plant. So those of you who cannot keep your succulent alive, you can get in touch with our students. And we also have this, which is on another example that it's a flood alert system that's built by a group of our students actually in Battambang after a 3-month program that we work with them. And this is an interactive interface designed by our student using Scratch to educate people on mental health. But for us, we know that our end goal and outcome is beyond this project and beyond getting good grade in math. Those are low-hanging fruit. We believe that we are helping the student getting future ready through our coding class. You see, when kids learn to code, they will start to think computationally. And computational thinking is a thought process involved in formulating problems so their solution can be represented as computational steps and algorithms. Let me explain this by walking you through an example that are the sequence of events that happen when kids experience working with projects like this. So this is a project done by one of our students. In fact, she's my sister. She's 11 years old. Her name is Ratana. Ratana started learning coding 2 years ago when I gave her a microbit, the microprocessor that we use in our program to teach kids how to code with hardware and for also in robotics. And last month, to get into Halloween spirit, I asked Ratana to build a project that embraced the spookiness of the season. As my sister began the new project, she planned it by herself, and then she pitched the idea to me in the planning process that looked like this. I found a project idea, so she narrated to me that she's going to make a game called Trick or Treat, where you would have a bowls of candy. There would have candy falling from the sky, and there will be a bowl, and you have to use the bowl to catch the candy. And I say, okay, you can do that. Let's do it. So a couple of days later, she come back to me with the first version of her game. First, the game only allow you to catch candies falling. And the problem was that for me as a player, I was like, this is not challenging because there is no consequence. I can keep catching the candy. If I miss the candy, nothing happened. So, and also, I don't know when the game is gonna be over. This is what like the insides of her code would looks like. I give her this feedback, and then she come back to me with a response and say that I can make it start with 5 life, and if they miss a candy, they lose a life. And if they miss it 5 times, game will be over. She went on and do her code. I played it, and then I was like, yeah, it's called trick or treat. So far, the candy is like the treat. So where is the trick element? And then she come back and she says, I will add a rat, and the rat will be the trick. If the rat touch the bowl, they will lose a life. And I was like, cool. Now it sounds like a legit game. So she went on and worked on the program. And this required the knowledge of input, conditioning, loop, sequencing, and order, cause and effect, and an awareness of the debugging process, in case the characters and the background don't sync together and don't do as you intended. And here's the final product of her game. So you can see, if you catch the rat, it started to deduct the mark. You can try out if you want the games, but it's not mobile responsive. Rotana might have to. That's the thing. It's another debugging process that Rotana might have to redo her game to be mobile responsive if you think that most of the user would access it through the smartphone. So this process that my sister has debugged her program and refined her problem-solving skill by add the bats as an obstacle course for program to create a challenging experience for the player. As Ratana was working on the project, she explored powerful ideas such as sequencing, debugging, modularizations, and design. These are some of the core concepts of computational thinking. As she discussed her process with me, she is building on her communications and collaboration skills. Since started 3 years ago, Snoopedu have worked with over 2,000 students to implement coding in the class and digital literacy program. And here are the 3 things that we learned. 1, creativity are to be nurtured, not taught. Kids are born with it, and it's our role to help nurture and to help them explore their own creative genius. 2, it's never too early to introduce kids to coding. Actually, we were always reluctant. We started and we say the best group that we want to take is grade 5 and 6. And school keeping adding younger and younger, that now the youngest kid we have are 3 years old, and the younger we go, the more fun it was. And 3, teachers are going to play important role in this new paradigm of education, but it will require them to shift the way that they are used to teaching. The role of teacher in the classroom will need to change from providing the information to becoming the facilitator of learnings that guide the student to define their own goals and support them to reach their potential. And parents also ask us, what can they do if they finish the coding class? We usually answer, they can do whatever they want. We will be here to support them. The truth is, when students get exposed, they get these kinds of exposure, they will define what they want to do based on their interests and their aspiration. Some would want to join a robotic competition. Some want to build an interface for the robot that they have built in their intro class to robotic. Some would want to start a business. We might not know what they would want to do, but we know that their life will never be the same, and that's the magic of learning through fun. The design of our program also adds on the other key component that we believe the student would need to thrive as human being in the digital age. It is digital competency and global citizenship. Therefore, we introduce project-based learning, team-based learning, so they can improve on important skills such as communication, collaboration, practice empathy, and building a sense of community. At this point, it's hard to say for a fact what are we training our students for to be future ready. But if I were to make a calculated guess, we could say that any job or position would require intensive technological tool, and our student would need to be trained accordingly. Change will be a constant, and therefore education for the future are those that build the skills to help the student be resilient to changes and equip them with skills required for the 21st century, such as critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration. Human will always be necessary to higher thinking, creative work, and working in team to solve a problem. Learning how to code will enable you to build those skills based on computational thinking and also support to facilitate problem solving opportunity that allow students to practice and hone on those important skills for the future. That's why if I were to bet on any kinds of education that will guarantee future readiness, I would bet on the one where students somehow at some point in their education journey would get exposed to coding. Thank you.